Holy shit! Ah, new build. Fantastic. First off, okay, so I've been turning this Kamen Rider thing into just like a vlog of my life because I get so few views, whatever. It doesn't This episode is fantastic. Okay, so the last couple of days, the last couple of weeks, especially the last couple of days, have been absolute hell. But now I have a new car. I've decided to start, dressing better and just making my life better. I'm going to work on a lot of things. Let's talk about Kamen Rider. Alright. This episode was titled, Who Takes Off the Veil? Now, I was assuming it was going to be like some sort of wedding theme. Sort of like the first couple of episodes of Shinkenger did that. Power Ranger Samurai. Whatever. I mean, I'm not new to tokusatsu, right? So I figure, yeah, every now and then you'll have like a weird, silly wedding episode. So wrong. So wrong. I've... wrong about a lot of things, actually, because it turns out stock, and I cannot find my marker for the life of me, but bloodstock, very important in this episode, and importantly enough, I was wrong, and he's not Katsuragi. But, I mean, it's still up in the air, I guess. When I find my marker, next week, we're going to make some updates. Right over there, probably next week, they will finally take off his veil. Anyway, moving right along. So we started off with Sento. He had that phone call at the end of episode 12. And like I said last week, Kamen Rider episodes seem to go, like, the first 12 episodes, that's the first, quarter. Second quarter, that's when the big changes happen. That's when you start getting, the base upgrade suit. Okay, so... Be the one, alright. Be the light. Bloodstock had Pandora's box from the last episode, and we didn't know where he was hiding it. And Night Rogue wants it. Night Rogue, Mr. Gintoku Himuro, he is talking to the president of Namba. That's the guy who's been funding the operations of Faust this entire time, and he's like, I want to be a Kamen Rider, which I believe this is the first time he's said that. I don't remember it from the previous episodes, and it's interesting to see that he has sort of heroic motivations, so maybe he'll join the main cast at a later date on, the good side. But Namba is like, nah, we got somebody else in mind. Don't even... Honestly, Gentoku, I've never seen you fight. I don't think you would be a good fit. So, he doesn't take it well. So Night Rogue finds Bloodstock in the middle of some woody tree area, because, as you do, the thing about Kamen Rider is, they've been going on since the 1970s. Japan is an island nation. There are only so many different places you can film, so eventually you start seeing the same locations over and over if you've been watching the show for about 10 years like I have. So they're in the forest, and they're fighting. And I gotta say, it was really good. The Night Rogue and Bloodstock battle near the beginning, they went crazy with it. Night Rogue is upside down for a few bits, really using his bat abilities. Bloodstock is slipping through the grass like a snake. It's so good, you guys. It's fantastic. the fight scene is just... Okay, so after the fight ends, Bloodstock wins. Night Rogue is de-transformed because of the battle. Bloodstock isn't. That's just his whole deal. We haven't seen his face yet. He hasn't taken his helmet off. That's him. You do you. We get pretty much the entire plot of the episode boiled down to just Bloodstock talking to Night Rogue before leaving, and he's like, listen, I have Pandora's box. I gave it to Namba, who was funding Faust. Namba wants me to go ahead and become the Kamen Rider, not you. So, yeah. If you try to go to any actual government officials about this or try to get Pandora's box back, Namba will just take it to one of the other sub-nations. I mean, where we are in Tota, they might take it to Hokuto or Seto. And you know, the interesting thing about government officials and, you know, smuggling, like, really prized and powerful possessions across basically state lines is they frown upon it. So if you talk to government officials about this and we end up smuggling it to a different nation and the government officials from Toto, the pacifist nation, try to invade either Hokuto or Seto, like, that's going to cause a war. Flat out. There's no way around it. That's how wars are started. So, you know, Night Rogue, if I were you, Gentoku, if I were you, this is Bloodstock talking, if I were you, I would get somebody who's not affiliated with the government to try to get it back, you know, if I were you. And while he's saying this, the scene is already fading to Sento sitting at the cafe looking all bummed out and morose. And it's like, I wonder what Night Rogue is going to do, you guys. So, Sento is talking to the rest of the cafe, and the cafe owner, Mr. Suichi Isurugi. Suichi Isurugi. Very important character. Now. And Suichi is like, do you remember that time that I found you on the street and you lost all of your memory up until that point, and I took you in and you became a Kamen Rider and you fight monsters and now you live in my cafe? Like, do you remember that? And Sento's like, Flashback to a scene I don't think they've shown before. It's his, like, whole origin story. He has, like, a little brown jacket all tattered and torn, and he's shaking the bottles for the first time, and he's just gazing at all the math equations, all the different possibilities in front of him, and he has the solution, you know, and then he transforms into Build and kicks a monster's ass, and he gets back to the base. And Soichi stands up. He sees that Sento is all, like, tired and worn out, but he has the Kamen Rider belt. Soichi stands up and he's like, welcome home. And Sento slowly smiles and says, I'm back. Now that is important, because that is the whole bookend to this episode. It's gonna come back at the end. I'm only about halfway through with these notes, guys. Okay. So we got the Build origin, which is, it's fantastic. I'm glad that they waited until episode 13, honestly, because it would have been a stark contrast to start the show with that, and especially the way they started this run of Kamen Rider Build with the whole, like, sky wall and the motorcycle rolling around it. It's great. This is slowly building up to one of my favorite Kamen Rider series. Sento has the 20th bottle. Now, the way Build works, you know, you got 2 different bottles, and there are 10 different combinations of best match. So he gets the 20th bottle. He's talking to the gang because he already talked to Gentoku at his work, and Gentoku's like, I need you to break into Namba. I know we've had our differences, but those aside, I need you to break into Namba and get Pandora's box. So Sento explains the situation to the rest of the cafe, and they're like, yeah, huddle up. All right, go team. He pulls Mizora. He pulls Mizora aside and is like, listen, I found this last bottle. This was last episode. I got it from Sawa when she was turned into a monster. This is the last one. I need you to purify it today. I need you to purify this bottle in secret. Don't tell anyone. I need you to do it. Mizora's like, I don't want to. Not because she was being selfish, but throughout the episode, she seems to know a little bit about what's going on, and she seems to know what's going to happen at the end. She does end up doing it for him. It's important. So, 20th bottle. So, Sawa, from the previous episode, she revealed that she was a spy, and because she was a spy, Namba no longer wants her to be associated with them, and she's still with Team Build. She's like, here are the blueprints to the Namba Corporation. Here's how you break in. Let's do it. She's working so hard to redeem herself, you guys. Okay. Now, I do want to mention there's just a generic, like, we're breaking into the building and we're fighting all these different guys. And he's like pirate train, and he's crossed that dragon, and they have the dual henshin, one to the other. Also, of note, I didn't realize this beforehand, but their like transformation poses are like opposite fists. So when they do it next to each other, it really complements each other. And this is like the best episode. Okay. So, while they're all, like, fighting around, there's a little comedic moment where Sento is, like, trying to put in the pin pad, but it's, like, a touch screen, and he's wearing gloves, and he's like, it's not working. And freaking Banjo's in the background going, like, use your pinky. He's like, what do you mean? It's like, your fingers are too thick. You use your pinky. He's like, oh, alright. And it doesn't work, but the reason it doesn't work isn't because he had the wrong password. It is. It's because after Sawa left, they've been changing the password on this room every 3 hours. So the door opens, but not because Sento did it, but because Bloodstock did it. And he's sitting... This room, you guys, when I saw it, I started busting out laughing. This is the best setting ever. It's just a large red circular room, probably about 3 or 4 yards wide in all sides. It's a circle. Only 2 things in this room. A nice chair, a really decorative, a little gaudy chair in the middle of this round red room. It's like a weird yellowish tan color. And next to it, a very small table with Pandora's box resting on top of it. The table is barely big enough to hold Pandora's box on top of it. And that's all that's in this gigantic room. Bloodstock was just casually sitting there next to Pandora's box, just waiting for them to try to open the door. And then he opens it for them and he's like, yeah, fight me. And they do, and it's fantastic. Okay, I want to talk about this fight scene for a bit. This episode had like 2 good fight scenes and 1 like mediocre one. This good fight scene, Cross Zed is just sort of like trying to play backup, just trying to get a few hits in every now and then. But mostly it's Bloodstock versus Build. And Build is just going all out. He's trying everything. He's trying Pirate Train. He's trying Hawk Gatling. Just like all these different combinations. And Bloodstock just knows how to fight each and every one of them. Just blocking hits, just doing everything. It's so good. Bloodstock says, I know all of your moves. I know every combination you have. There's no way you can defeat me. And Build stands there and he's like, yeah? Yeah, you think you know me, huh? You think you know me. Bitch! He pulls out 2 bottles, transforms, Octopus Light. Octopus Light. Let's take just a moment back away from the episode and try to figure out. We have all the strengths and weaknesses of an octopus matching with all the strengths and weaknesses of like a light bulb. I don't know. I don't know. The closest I could come up with is that the octopus shoots ink, which, by the way, that would make it a squid, not an octopus. It shoots ink, which makes everything dark, and then he uses the light bulb right away. And it's like, I don't know, maybe blinds the opponent, because, like, if you go from pitch black to, like, super bright, and it blinds Bloodstock. Like, that whole side of his body is just a giant light bulb, and he's like, and it's pretty good. The other side is just like all these tentacles come out of his arm and just like pull the guy in and like punching or it's great. Bloodstock is completely taken off guard and they do like a combination final attack on him and it's fantastic. The combination final attack doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I don't know how Sento immediately knows how to use all these things. I mean, I guess he is like a physicist, probably. And he is supposed to be one of the smartest people in the universe, despite the fact that he has like full-blown amnesia and doesn't really remember anything up until the day he met Soichi Isarugi. So, fight done. Bloodstock leaves. He shoots out this thing that looks like maybe it's pulled from the 2003 Kamen Rider series, Ryuki. Like, it's just a giant, like, cobra snake that flies around the room in CGI and smoke appears, and they're like, what's going on? Which, I mean, is a valid question, because, like, nothing like this has ever happened before. So he leaves. They get Pandora's box. They go home. Mizora looks at them. And she's all sad. And she says, welcome home. And Sento and Banjo walk in. And Sento says, we're back. Which is a fitting bookend to Sento's first mission as Build. Because now they're a team. This is home. They have a nice dinner. They pull out money from the cafe register and just buy like a big tray of sushi, and they have like a little pizza, and you know, Soichi gets home from his job, you know, because the cafe isn't doing a whole lot of business. They can't afford to hire any more staff, so Soichi Isarugi has taken a second job. He gets home and he joins them for dinner. Everything seems nice. Then in the dead of night, we see a hand pull the Pandora's box away from the shelf. We see that same hand pulling a bunch of the Build bottles away from the shelf. We see the tan jacket that Soichi was wearing to work. We see Sento sitting at the cafe. Where are you going? Soichi says, I have work. This late at night? I would think so too, except I planned this from the beginning. Soichi stops for a moment. Sento says, I had my suspicions about you. I had my suspicions that you were Bloodstock. And I think I have confirmation on that. Every time that I fought Bloodstock, he seemed to know exactly what sort of powers and abilities I had when I was fighting. And every time that we fought, he knew how to counter them. That's why I had Mizora purify that bottle ahead of time, and I didn't let you know. Soichi says, you thought that through, huh? And then he runs out of the door. He has Pandora's box. He has all of the bottles, I believe. And he runs out. Sento runs after him. Cut to credits. You guys, what's gonna happen? Fantastic. Okay, so Kamen Rider Build. We're in the second arc now. Everything is gonna be good. Everything is gonna turn out fine. I had a lot of doubts going into this show. And I'm I'm so happy that they turned out wrong. I'm so happy the show. I have to say it's better than X-Aid. Many people may disagree with me, but then again, I get about 4 views, so whatever. Better than X-Aid. See you next week.